CNN Tonight with D. Lemon right now.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So in that same vein, because we're talking about these viruses that are infecting America. Imagine when you said I do for what I do for you, I'm doing for me. What I'm doing for me, I'm doing for you. Imagine if that was me on the ground, how you would feel as a friend, as someone I spend a lot of time with. Imagine how people around this country feel when their friends like you, both of us are a different background, when their friends say nothing, when they do nothing, except send out a tweet or say, oh man, that's terrible. I can't believe that happens. And then when they see everyday racism, they don't stand up for it. Imagine how that feels to people of color in this country. It feels terrible. Is that really being a friend? And I'm not saying you specifically. You understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I totally understand. And you know, the only word I can use is just hurt. It all hurts. We didn't have the plan, the show plan the way it unfolded. We just couldn't let Williams go. I mean, he was saying what you and I have heard, and you know, you've heard in your own heart. I've heard from so many people that I love that they're so afraid that it's going to be them, it's going to be their kid, and white people roll their eyes like, oh, come on, man, this only happens like once in a while. It doesn't have to happen that often. If every time it happens in your mind, it seems to go unanswered in terms of why it's okay. So we kept him on just so that people could hear how scary it is for someone to watch that and think.
But that's the problem, Chris. It's not that it happens. It happens a lot. We just don't see it. We're just seeing from the video. This is the reason that Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee. And then people were upset, and the President of the United States having the nerve to call him and others who were standing up for this sort of injustice, to call them sons of bitches. This is why people are standing up, so that it doesn't lead to this. So that you aren't sitting at home saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Look at what they're doing to this man. This happens all the time. This is why he was doing it. And the nerve and the gall of people to say, oh my gosh, stop doing this. I want to enjoy my football game. Now think about that now in this context. How selfish that sounds. And how you might feel if that was your loved one on the ground. And that there were people who have been protesting this all along and who have been fed up for years. And they're trying to get your attention by something as respectful as taking a knee at a football game. Yet you can call them sons of bitches. But then you look for an excuse for this police officer in Minneapolis saying, well, there must have been something that led up to this. The guy must have been resisting. Clearly, this just can't be the act of a police officer or someone who is supposed to be protecting the community. Yes, it is. People who continue to look for excuses. Well, what is the rest of the video? Where's the rest of it? Wasn't he resisting? He must have been doing something terrible. He shouldn't have been in this position. Maybe he should have been compliant. How many should have been compliant? How many more excuses do you need to make before you examine yourself and say, okay, maybe I need to wake up a little bit and take a good long look at what I've been doing. Maybe I need to understand or realize that the environment that this president has trafficked in can help to lead to these sorts of situations where people think that sort of behavior, meaning the people who are doing these things, the people who are calling the cops on people falsely in Central Park, the people who are chasing people down the street in Georgia and killing them, that you may begin to think that your actions are normal. That you may begin to think that you, as the preeminent voice, can do things that are inhumane to other people and it will be accepted. The game was given away. The woman in Central Park said, I'm calling the cops, I'm going to say that this scary black man did something to me, knowing that the cops would come there and probably be on her side and not his. The police officer, according to your witness, he looked him in the eye. He told the police officer, hey, stop it, you're going to kill the man. The cop said nothing, maybe shouldn't be on drugs. That gave the game away. That is the game. We can do it, and we can get away with it, and no one is going to tell us no one is going to tell us otherwise. We're not going to go to jail for it. Maybe I'll lose my job. I'm going to keep my pension, though, because guess what? The police association is going to fight for me. That is what has been happening in this country for years, and that's why the Black Lives Matter folks are out there, and that's why people are protesting, Chris. I'm not condoning people protesting, but let me tell you, People are tired of living in an occupied country, a free country, that's a country that's supposed to be free, yet they are occupied. So they are frustrated, and they are angry, and they are out there, and they're upset. You shouldn't be taking televisions, but I can't tell people how to react to this. I don't know how it is to live under those circumstances in those neighborhoods. I do live in Harlem, but I am lucky enough that I have this job that keeps me protected from many of those things. Other people don't have that. I'm sorry to keep going on and on, but this is how you and I talk. And this is how we continue to talk. And I think that every person out there, listen, if you're black and you don't have a white friend, get one and tell them what's on your mind. And if you're white and you don't have a black friend, then get one and let him tell you what is on, or her, what is on their mind. Because that is the only way we're going to solve this. It is not incumbent upon black people to stop racism, to stop this. It is incumbent upon people who hold the power in this society to help to do that, to do the heavy lifting. And guess who that is? Who is that, Chris?
White people. I don't talk much, but when I do, I make it count. I think that the protests make sense. I don't think you can process the anger without them. Now, you start committing crimes and it's a riot, that's not protest.
That's not,
that's
I get what you're saying.
It's a different issue, but at the same time, I remember what Dr. King said about this, and I understand that it's not easy to keep emotions in check when nobody seems to be keeping them in check when you are the victim. I get it. What hurts most, I think, in this particular fact pattern, other than the duration, is why the hell were the other cops standing there doing nothing? Nobody is trained to put a knee on a throat.
Because it's not about training. It's not about police training. It's about the way we have been trained in society to react to those things. It is okay. Now imagine if that was an 18, 19, 20-year-old white kid on the ground. Mm-hmm. Do you think those officers would be doing the same thing or reacting the same way?
That's the troubling question. That's the meme that's going around right now with the cops, with the black kid on the ground saying hello to the white guy in camo with the AK-47 and the mask who was protesting in Michigan. That when it's white people with guns and they're out and they're angry and their faces with cops.
Didn't see any of that.
Everybody's civil.
Didn't see any of that.
But
a flag burning, spitting in police officers' faces, yelling at police officers armed with heavy weaponry. Didn't see any of that. Did you see anybody with their foot on anybody's neck?
No, I mean, you've heard of people make it a joke, but it's funny because it's tragic and sad. If black people said, let's all go out and get guns and start the protest, that would be the fastest change of gun law culture in this country.
Yeah.
If you started to have African Americans buying up AR-15s or whatever you want to call them and going out and protesting legally with legal weapons, you'd see a change in the laws. Yeah. And that's sad.
Yeah. And if you see a black man who has this platform, a television show, who has the gall enough to tell you how it is, guess how many people are going to call him racist and a race baiter?
Who cares?
Check out my social media feed and see what happens.
Who cares? You say what's true and you say what's real, and look, you're not getting it from a second source. You live it.
Yeah, I don't care. Go for it. I really don't care. You can save it or you can put it out there. I do not care. I am so frustrated. Listen, I've got to talk about the big story as well that's happening in the news, and that is coronavirus. But I'm so sick of, as a person of color, especially a black man, as my actions, my thoughts, whatever I do is being seen as more aggressive or somehow sinister just because of this shell that I am in. I am sick of it.